Yo, what's going down, everybody? It is straight out of Boston here, aka the King of Boston, and today we have episode 8, I do believe, of the NBA 2K13 Around the League series. And today I'm doing the Houston Rockets for this episode. I'm going up against the New York Knicks, or that's who my opponent is using. And my opponent's actually one of my good friends on YouTube, Burns, or XX, the Birds 2211 and XX. I'll leave his channel link in the description. I was, going to go on and record this, and he suggested, well, why don't you just play me? It'll probably be more fun that way. It might even be more entertaining for the viewer. But anyway, let's pretty much all stay on that, so let's get right into this. Looking at this roster, I think that this team has a major problem. I think that it's built around a few isolation players. And what I mean by that is guys who really thrive in being able to have the ball at the top of the key and kind of do whatever they want with that. Now, this worked for the Miami Heat when they assembled Dwayne Wade and LeBron James on their team, because both those guys are both isolation players. They don't really cut off ball to get open. They can run the fast break, but they're really both guys who in a half court are going to thrive in just running isolations. But what the Rockets have done is they've assembled Jeremy Lin and James Harden together, and I don't think Jeremy Lin's really a superstar. I don't think he should be an all-star this year. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good point guard. I think he needs a certain type of team around him almost. I'll get to that in a sec. And James Harden obviously is a superstar in the NBA. He's probably going to be an all-star this year. And, obviously going to be one of the great scorers in this league for years to come. He is going to be with the Rockets for a while. He did re-sign with the Rockets after he got traded. So I think the problem is, in this kind of got proved when James Harden missed a game about a week ago. Jeremy Lin went off for 38 points, 7 rebounds, or 7 assists, like 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And it seems like he thrives when he's just the guy who can handle the ball at the top of the key and run the high pick and roll with, whoever he wants. I mean, if you go back to when, kind of Lin Sanity was born, or whatever you want to say, Melo and Amari, I believe, were both. Amari might have been playing, but Melo was out. I believe Amari was out. And, last year's Knicks team wasn't that deep. It was kind of, Tyson Chandler, and then, I don't know, J.R. Smith was 6-man, Landry Fields, Jared Jeffries was getting a lot of playing time at that point. You can see Burns is killing me right now. I promise you this game does get a little bit closer towards the end. I might actually win this one. You never know. But, it almost seemed like he thrived with, bad players around him. And I think what it really was just he thrived when he was, the main piece in the offense. And I think that acquiring James Harden really hurt Jeremy Lin. And I read an article on it on grantland.com. And, Grantland, it's more, it's not always, a realistic type of thing when it talks. It had an article about, trade ideas. And, not a lot of them were, realistic. But I did talk about Jeremy Lin a little bit and how, maybe he should get traded. He does have a 3-year, $25 million contract that, for what he's been doing this year, is really, really looking like he got overpaid by the Rockets. But I really think that if he goes to a team where he can be the main guy, I think he can thrive. Now, I don't really know how many teams out there are going to be, wanting to acquire, a third-year guy with a 3-year, $25 million contract, and a type of guy who, you don't really know if he's going to be worth that money in the future. So I mean, the only teams I can think of are just teams with anything at this point they could use to either raise attendance at games, or I don't know. I mean, teams that just need something. I don't know, maybe the Magic or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the Rockets will really deal him because his value is pretty much as low as it's ever going to get at this point. But what Jeremy Lin does bring to a team is he does bring a good marketability. Obviously gets kind of the Asian, crowd invested in your team, as well as the Asian population in whatever city the team's playing in, kind of gets them into the team as well. Hopefully they'll buy tickets and merchandise and stuff like that. But still, it's interesting to see what the Rockets do, because I think Jeremy Lin needs to be an offense where he can be the guy, and I think that's the only way he's going to succeed in the NBA. I don't think they can really, James Harden's going to be there. I don't think they should trade him. I think, they should trade Lin before they should trade Harden if they, even make a trade. But I've been talking about that for a few minutes now. I want to get to the rest of the roster. I kind of like a few people on this team. I think Omer Ashik's really good, or I guess, I don't know, according to ESPN, he's been trying to change the pronunciation to Ashik, or I don't know. I'm just going to call him Ashik for this video because I don't really know the exact pronunciation. I really like Omer Ashik. I think he's a great rebounder, good defensive player. A lot of people were thinking he might have got overpaid by the Rockets and that the Bulls are smart not to re-sign him. But I think that, if Ashik can develop a bit of an offensive game, he's already averaging double-double this year. I don't know, what his stats like in terms of blocks are, but if he can develop into a bit of better shot blocker, I think he's definitely going to be a solid starter for the Rockets in the long term. Reminds me a lot of Anderson Varejao, to be quite honest. I really like Chandler Parsons. Obviously, the guy was a steal in the second round for the Rockets. Have him on my fantasy team, have him in my Pistons association, and I really like him. He's a guy who could do a little bit of everything. He can dribble the ball, he can shoot the ball, he can drive to the lane, he can make good passes, play a little bit of defense. He's kind of a jack of all trades. Doesn't do any one of those things exceptionally well, but I think that he's definitely going to be a piece of this Rockets team for the future. I don't really know if he'll ever be a budding superstar. He does have some athleticism, but I think that he's going to be a solid starter for the Rockets for the long term. I like Tony Douglas. I believe he's a third or fourth year guy out of Florida State now from the New York Knicks last year. I think I like him. He's a solid role player. I think he's a good backup to Linsanity. I really like Greg Smith, who I saw play against the Celtics the other night. I'm really impressed with him. He seemed like he could do a lot of things with basketball in his hands. So I'm really impressed with Greg Smith so far. I hope they play him more. And you can see we end up losing this year. I end up losing this game to the New York Knicks. So anyway, I think the Rockets could try to potentially go for a bottom seed in the Western Conference, maybe 8 or 7, but I don't really know. I think they need to restructure the team a little bit. We'll see. I really am a fan of Kevin McHale as a head coach, but anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you did enjoy, and so I'm out. Peace.
Lyrical mastermind, one of a kind, you'll never find anybody with a wait, hold up, cut the track and rewind. Baby, every day is a party. Sometimes I think I'm tripping, just trying to keep my head from getting big like Stewie Griffin. Man, I'm married to the game, holy matrimony. You say that you go ham, best believe I go baloney. Cause if you ain't heard of me, then I think we need to talk. Man, I bet you live with Patrick, cause you living under a rock. Cause ain't nobody ever really do it like me. Come and take a walk in my shoes, you'll see I never show no mercy. I torture the mic and murder the beat. I walk around my city, feeling like the mayor. I'm worldwide.